How good will Washington football be this upcoming college football season? Now, last year, this was one of the most disappointing teams in all of college football. They went 5-8. They crashed and burned with Jimmy Lake. He was fighting with his players. It was awful. So you bring in a new head coach and Kalen DeBoer, who had a really phenomenal offense last season at Fresno State. And if you're a Huskies fan, you're really excited for what this offense could do this season because their defense is going to be really good. Their front seven is one of the best in the Pac-12. Now, who's going to end up getting the nod at quarterback come week one? You have Micheal Penix, transferred from Indiana. Dylan Morris started the majority of last year, and Sam Heward. Now, Sam Heward is probably third in the quarterback competition in a lot of Washington fans' eyes. He had the best spring game of the group, but he hasn't been all that great throughout the duration of spring camp. Now, you have Micheal Penix, who has a good amount of experience. He also has a lot of familiarity with DeBoer because DeBoer was his offensive coordinator at Indiana during 2019. So the thing with Micheal Penix is, for one, can the guy stay healthy? I don't think he's ever made it through an entire full season. Secondly, can he improve his accuracy downfield? Now, I don't really know if it's a left-handed thing, but left-handers aren't really known for being incredibly accurate. More times than not, they're known for being gunslingers, and Micheal Penix has a phenomenal arm, but I would love for him to improve his accuracy a little bit more. But other than that, I expect him to get the starting nod. And not only do I expect him to be the starter because him and DeBoer have that familiarity, but he's the quarterback who has a good grasp of the playbook. He looks experienced. He looks in control. And he didn't really have a lot of turnovers during spring camp. Now, you look at Dylan Morris. He didn't really have a bad spring camp neither. But, I mean, I watched a lot of Washington games last year. Don't ask me why. But they're on the West Coast. They normally play late in the day. So I love watching the late college football games. It's fun to me. And every single week, man, I kept saying to myself, they're still starting this guy again. So I'm pretty sure if you're a Washington fan, seeing Dylan Morris start at quarterback for you again this year probably would be one of your worst nightmares. I doubt it'll happen. But I think Micheal Penix could do some really good things this year if he's able to stay healthy. But if he isn't, and his injury history keeps popping up again this year, you're probably going to see a good amount of Dylan Morris if that happens. Now, wide receiver, you have a pretty good group there. You have Jalen McMillan there. You also have a lot of talent at running back. Now, we don't know who's going to get the start at running back. You do have Aaron Dumas, who is a transfer from New Mexico State. You also have Cameron Davis, Richard Newman there. Now, DeBoer says that he loves running backs who can catch out of the backfield. You go back to his offense at Fresno State, the running backs were heavily involved in the passing attack. Now, every single one of these running backs for Washington brings something different to the table. DeBoer even said that he's not just looking for who's the most talented when it comes to being able to catch the football and run the ball in between the tackles, but he's also looking for somebody who's also going to be reliable in pass blocking. So you're looking at somebody who just wants a lot of versatility when it comes to running back, and I think that Washington is well suited for that. And then another thing is that this offense is going to get a giant boost simply for the fact that you're moving away from that pro-style offense that you tried to implement last year, and now you have more of a spread-oriented attack. And last year, Jimmy Lake, for some reason, wanted to put a lot of emphasis on running the football. I think he even had like a shirt or something that said, "Run the doggone football," "Run the damn ball," or something like that. And the run game didn't really have a lot of success last year. So if you can get this passing game going, plus the run game going, that's going to open things up for what you can do offensively as a play caller. Now, for the defense, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these guys' names. These Hawaiian names throw me off. They're always really fun to pronounce once you get the gist of them, but I've been trying before recording this, and I'm not even going to try to embarrass myself. But I'm going to try to pronounce them by their first name. So you have Tali who is one of the better interior defensive linemen in the Pac-12. You have Zion there at linebacker. You have Carson there at the other linebacker spot. You have Braylon Trice. You have a lot of depth and a lot of talent when it comes to your linebacker group. Now, cornerback is probably going to be the biggest concern that many Husky fans have on the defensive side of the football, because you lost Trent McDuffie, Kyler Gordon, and Buki Bernard Riley-Hiles to the NFL. But you do bring in UC Davis transfer Jordan Perryman, who was All-Sky first team last year. Last year with UC Davis, he recorded 63 tackles, 12 pass breakups, and an interception. So he's going to be a really big acquisition there at cornerback. They're going to be expecting a lot of big things out of him this season. And that secondary. Then at safety, you're pretty solid. You have Turner, Alex Cook back there. So for Washington, when you look at their schedule, you should be able to handle Kent State and Portland State. Hopefully you don't have another Montana disaster. So you go into that Michigan State game 2-0, most likely. And the bonus is that it's going to be at home. Now, Michigan State's defense, I don't think it's going to be all that great. Their secondary was a huge concern last season, and I think that their secondary still is a huge concern this season. So I think that that's a pretty winnable game. I think that Washington has a really good offensive line. A lot of Husky fans feel that this offensive line underperformed last year, not due to the fact that there wasn't a lot of talent, but due to the fact that poor scheme and predictable play calling. So against Michigan State, I think that that's a pretty winnable game. Stanford, we don't really know what they're going to be this year. David Shaw, don't really know what's going on there, but can they get things together? Will they continue to kind of drift down in the wrong direction? Don't really know. UCLA is going to be really tough this year. Really tough. You have Zach Charbonnet coming back there. You have Dorian Thompson-Robinson back at quarterback again for another year. I think UCLA is being a little bit overlooked this year. Then you have a pretty easy stretch for the most part. You play Arizona State on the road. They look like they're going to be a dumpster fire. Arizona, Cal. So you should be able to win all three of those games. So at this point, you should at least have 5 wins. Maybe 6 at this point, right? And then coming off your bye week, you face Oregon State. They're a little bit overlooked as well. Oregon, Colorado, Washington State, which is going to be one of the best Apple Cup matchups that we have seen in a very long time, because you're going to have Cameron Ward there at quarterback. And I think that Washington State is going to be really interesting with Cameron Ward at quarterback, because if he ends up popping off, they could be a dangerous team. So my record prediction for Washington, I have them at 7-8 wins. I'm probably going to go with 7, because I think that there are going to be some growing pains when it comes to the quarterback position. I don't have a lot of confidence that Micheal Penix is going to be able to get through the whole entire year. He hasn't showed me that he has throughout his whole entire collegiate career. So I think that the quarterback play may end up holding them that back. But if Micheal Penix can make it through the whole entire season, then I do think that they can be able to get 8, maybe 9 wins. But when you look at them in terms of being able to compete for the Pac-12, I think that they do have a small shot. But USC, Oregon, they're better teams at this point. And this was a 4-8 team last year. Now, it was 4-8 due to bad coaching, not really due to the talent, but I still do have my reservations about this Huskies team on the offensive side of the ball. I know that they're going to be really good defensively, but offensively, even though DeBoer is an offensive-minded coach and the offense is going to improve, I still don't really know how good the quarterback play is going to be this year, because I need Micheal Penix to show me that he can stay healthy. So, overall, 7-5 is going to be my record prediction for the Huskies this season. If you're a Washington fan and you're watching this, let me know how good you think the Huskies are going to be this upcoming college football season down in the comment section down below.